Hey, welcome back. Today I have a video that I've been really excited to share with you. But basically, I want to tell you how I taught my daughter to read. So if you are almost at the point of teaching your child to read, this might be helpful for you. And yeah, I have all the resources and everything. So keep watching if you're interested. Okay, so oh my gosh, I just admitted recently that I say okay so a lot, and I apologize. It's so habitual at this point. Anyway, so when we started to homeschool, the thing that I was actually worried about the most is that I knew I had to teach my daughter to read, and I was very intimidated by it. But I did a lot of research and came to the conclusion of choosing a curriculum to help me along the way. Now, I tried 100 easy lessons to teach a child to read. It was very too dry and very overwhelming on a page for me. So if I was overwhelmed, I thought she was going to be overwhelmed, so we did not get very far. I ended up choosing the Good and the Beautiful's curriculum to teach my daughter how to read. And I have a lot of other things extra that I have added in as well, but that is our base on what I use to teach her. Now, it is so refreshing as a parent to just be able to be like, yeah, I taught my daughter how to read. Now, my daughter is currently going into second grade coming up here in this next school year, and she is probably reading at a fifth grade reading level, possibly even over that, because it just keeps getting better and better and better the more she reads. And I just feel so proud as a homeschool mom. Anyways, so the program that we used, that is the Level K primer. Now, I do believe they may have redone this since then, but I'm pretty sure they would have probably kept to the same type of program because what they have really works. Lesson 1 starts off with A and T. Now, in this course, it is said that your child is not to master all of this. And it's more in the level K that the mastery will come. But I'll tell you, she had pretty much an understanding of how to read by the end of this book. And it is not long at all. It's only like 100 pages. So we did this one lesson every single day, and we started with this before we went into level K. So we did both of these, this and level K, in her kindergarten year because we just managed to fit both in. This also comes with a primer K extension, which had an extra practice sheets, and we did that as well. The one thing I could say that the Good and the Beautiful really does well is consistency and repetition. They went over the vowels like nobody's business. She could still recite the vowels because it was literally drilled into their head. Now, what I love about this is that it literally teaches, lesson 2, we're already into the vowels. A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. But it literally says, read to the child and complete the instructions. So like it says, vowels are a special group of letters. The vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. Have the child practice saying the vowels with you several times. Every word needs a vowel. Let's practice learning the vowels. Literally, it goes over this same concept almost every lesson, I want to say, but it has some handwriting in there, so they are practicing their writing as well. It has a lot of game type things, place some type of object over The pieces, we use gems a lot. Sing the alphabet. See, more vowels. I mean, literally it laid it out for me. And then when we were done using this curriculum here, vowels are really important too, because it really paves the way for where your kid is going. So we also had a few supplemental things. We got get ready for the code. So she did A, B, and C. But this is like a phonics type program. Listen, then follow the instructions. So it's things that the teacher reads, and then it'll be like color the picture whose name begins with the letter. And so, you know, she did a lot of, I honestly feel like between the curriculum, the Explode the Code books, or Get Ready for the Code, and then we purchased, so in the Primer K, they have this little reader that comes with it, and it's very basic things, almost like Bob books, which if you have not, I have Bob books back here. We actually didn't get to a whole lot of the Bob books for very long because I felt like she grasped it so quickly. So a lot of these I have, but we never even open. But anyway, so The Good and the Beautiful has their own leveled, sorry, look at that dog hair. Have their own leveled readers. So this actually fell out on my way down here to film this, but this is beginner books box B, set B, and I believe there's 10 books in each set. So you would eventually actually start with box A, and these books are quite similar to the early reader here. So they look like this. They're very colorful and beautiful. So, you know, 3-4 word sentences, and she did amazing at all of these. We didn't even read these for very long because she was able to read them so well. So the other thing that we used to get her started was letter tiles. So I have this letter tiles that I purchased off of Amazon, and we would have her lay them out and try to make simple words, or I'd have a bunch of letters out there that I want her to use, and I'd say, you know, show me your vowels, show me cat, at, you know, all the at family, all the, you know, like all the simple base words. And we did this a lot, and I quizzed her on her vowels a lot outside of this. I just randomly be like, hey, what are your vowels? And you know, she'd list them out for me, because reminding your child and repeating things over and over is what's going to get it to stick, and it's what's really going to stay with them. So that was super important. Now we also did use a program called Reading Eggs. I will insert some footage of Reading Eggs. We no longer pay for the subscription for Reading Eggs because she's like pretty much done with the entire program, and not because she did everything in the program. She just, we recently did the placement test, and she was out of the Reading Eggs, and she would have just been doing fast phonics, and honestly her phonics is, you know, above level as well. So we're almost kind of done with that app, but it served us well, and it served a purpose, because that app is amazing for teaching your child how to read. It's basically this in an app, and it's repetitive, and it's engaging, and it's fun because they make it game-like. And she did that, like, I want to say a good chunk of every day, every other day. And that really made a difference. We didn't use any other program. It was just Reading Eggs. Occasionally we'd hop into, they have a math portion on there as well, but we mainly focused it on reading eggs. So between Level K primer, the extras, reading eggs, the books, Explode the Code, we really worked with her, and her reading just kind of took off. Then when she was able to start rhyming, then that really took off, because then she could now rhyme her words, and it all just made sense. So knowing your letter sounds is also super obviously crucial to learning how to read, especially even just like your basic readers. So learning the sounds in Level K primer was also like their top priority. And we also would watch, they have letter, I forget what it's called. Sorry, I have sunburn that's peeling, and so I'm so itchy. It's on Netflix, and it Letter Factory. We did a lot of that, and that helped with the sounds. And we would quiz her throughout the day. You know, we only sat down here and did schoolwork for like 30 minutes at that point in kindergarten, or that level. So pretty much before we had started this course book, this is the Level K course book, they have what they call word ladders in the beginning. They look like this. She knew pretty much every single word before we have even started the Level K course book, which is crazy, because the only practice she had prior to that is the primer K. So this goes over some more vowels. I just passed vowels related to the vowels. Review. It reviews a lot. Then they have stories where what they would say is in red, but she pretty much was able to read this entire story. This book is, I would say, slightly advanced for kindergarten, but she knocked it out of the park. I love how they have everything laid out for you. I did do a review on this curriculum that I can link above, but I just wanted to show you all the resources that we use to get her reading at such a high level. So reading is also it's a practice, so you have to do it a lot. And go to the library, let them pick out as many books as they want. And that's what really stemmed this, is because she got to like go there, and you didn't have to pay for it. So we didn't have to limit her. And so she would come home with like 30 books, which is fine. I had no problem hauling that home, because I knew she was very interested in reading. And we read to her a lot. She was read to since she was pretty much out of my womb. Like that is how it became habit for us in this house to just constantly read to her. And honestly, it developed her love of reading from reading early on and just keeping with it. So between, so the Level K comes, now this is all being redone, I believe, on The Good and the Beautiful. So I don't know how the new Level K is, if they still have these readers or not, but they gave you a list, a huge stack that you put together yourself. They're numbered, and as you go through the course book, it will have the child read one of the books, I think like twice before you move on to the next one. So that was really helpful, because it also, a lot of people didn't know whether to purchase these as an extra item if you were doing everything separate or not, but it really was helpful. They also have these flashcards. So she's kind of, I mean, these are all like more advanced, because now, you know, this was for first grade, but they had them for kindergarten as well. And it was a lot of just like words, but it was sounds, mostly the sounds of the words. Let's see if I have, yeah, so like example. And so on the back, it would tell the parent how exactly it is said and like a word that they use. So these are pretty helpful, and you only needed to work with them, you know, not long before. Like I said, these are being revamped, so I think they're having another format for the flashcards. Like I think it's going to be in its own separate book. Also, this might have been, this is the first 100 high frequency words. So we would go through a couple a day, and not only would I have her read the word, but then we were trying to actually spell them out. So I would check off the ones that we were good at and the ones that we needed help with. And this is the first 100 words that they're supposed to know for kindergarten. So it worked for us. I'm not saying it's going to work for you, but I'm telling you, if you need a curriculum that is really going to hound in and teach your child and give them probably an above reading, if you really work with them and incorporate different things into this, it's going to be this curriculum. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. I am not sponsored, by the way. I can't tell you how much this was a godsend in our homeschool, because I don't know if another curriculum would have taught her as well as this. But it is so cool to, you know, when people ask you about homeschool, I can say I taught my daughter how to read. Like, I can give credit where credit is due. And yes, the curriculum is what really taught her how to read, but I was the one teaching it to her. And that is the plus side of homeschool, is you get to be your child's teacher. You get to go at the pace they need. You get to add these additional things. That is about everything I have here. Let me know in the comments how your kids like to read, what they like to read. If you have any book suggestions, put them down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.